What fact is common knowledge in your field, but almost unknown to the rest of the population? People almost always try to exit through the same door they entered. In a crowded venue, always take a second to find your exit and then find a second exit. Mark them in your brain just in case. In an emergency, most of the crowd is going to go for the main door they came in through. Knowing where another exit is can save your life. Urban heat kills way more people in Australia than bushfires. In the 2009 Black Saturday bushfires in Victoria, 173 people died in the fires, but over 300 died of the heat prior to that. Also, most of those deaths occur at night, not during the day. UTIs will often cause confusion in people over 70. UT is urinary tract infection, and some people can get confused to the point of hallucinations and delirium. It can cause increased weakness, which also leads to falls. Second edit, according to this study, the confusion and delirium is brought on by the inflammation and immune response involved. When you're taking Imodium, you're actually taking an opioid. But it's designed to only interact with the opioid receptors in your digestive tract to slow down your intestines. Scientists were like, hey, you know that anti-diarrhea medication heroin? Well, what if we made a version of that without the pesky side effects of getting you high? Your calf muscles act as a pump for your lymph fluid, which is basically the garbage pickup and immunity DoorDash of your body. Without flexing your calf, the fluid has no way of moving against gravity. Each time we walk, the muscles contract, squeezing the fluid back up towards the core for processing. That's why sitting for long periods causes swelling in the legs. LPT, sitting for long periods? Move your ankles up and down to pump the calf ETA. Holy shit, this blew up. I'm overwhelmed by all the responses. Grinning face with sweat. Thank you for the awards. A few things to add. Source: I am a lymphedema specialist. Veins of the lower leg also heavily rely on the calf muscle pump, so blood pools along with lymph from prolonged immobility. Elevating your legs is helpful, using gravity to help move fluid. Also, using compression socks to help push the fluid back up, especially if you stand still for long periods. Our lymph nodes are located at joint spaces, such as knees, hips, armpits, etc., so that movement compresses them and moves the fluid throughout the body. Movement is key. The thoracic duct in your upper abdomen processes about 70% of lymph. Deep breathing compresses the duct via the diaphragm and helps to move lymph. People who lack mobility, think paraplegics or people bedbound from illness, are prone to lower leg swelling, and often have complications such as blood clots, DVTs, skin breakdown, wounds, etc. because all the garbage is just sitting in one spot. Manually moving the legs helps, or using specifically designed pumps. TLDR, pump your calves, take deep breaths, and move your joints to improve everything. LOL. Powerful explosives are so insensitive to shock that it usually takes a smaller, more sensitive explosive to set them off. Genetics. There's a bunch of stuff we don't report back because they're considered incidental findings. This can include genetic diseases with no treatment/mitigation. Or non-paternity. If your kid is sick with a genetic disease and you go get genetic testing done for mom, dad, and little Timmy, we do not automatically report back if dad is no relation or is actually an uncle. At the same time, in most places you have the right to request your data. An elevator will go up to the top of the hoist instead of crash to the floor in most catastrophic failures due to the counterweights. If you have sad vegetables, carrot, celery, or lettuce that look wilted, not bad, you can make them crunchy by shocking in ice water. Trucker here, and we don't want to be anywhere near you either. Go around or stay back, don't just ride right beside us. We can't see you very well when you are beside us, and if shit happens you're gonna go splat. It is very rare that any driver wants to slow you down. It's not like we get our rocks off on making you late. We work extremely long hours on very little sleep, and we just want to get where we are going without getting in an accident and killing someone. Trust me, if we could go faster we damn sure would. Also, if you give us the fist pump to honk our horn, you just made our whole week. That's one of the greatest joys in a trucker's life. Be safe out there. Edit. A reoccurring comment is that most of you get it and are very cool, but you hate when a truck driver hops in the hammer lane when you're trying to pass them at a reasonable speed. I'm with you on that, and am here to tell you most truck drivers are not assholes like that, and the real truckers hate the ones that are. Every profession has a group of assholes that ruin it for the good ones. Edit. This has gotten an unexpectedly high response, and I really appreciate all of you joining in the conversation. If we would all just communicate like this more often, we could solve a lot of problems in this world. Bed bugs don't make you a nasty person with a nasty home. An infestation isn't due to a sanitation issue. They're an imported pest, which means they hitched a ride on something you brought into the house. Usually luggage or furniture. When you go out to clubs or any place with some sort of strip, aka Broadway in Nashville, the volume is 11 times out of 10 too loud. I work at Barstool occasionally as AV, and at night it's gotten up to 110 to 115 dB. For reference, the threshold of pain is 120 dB. We're hearing protection people. You can't get that shit back. In any given nature documentary, the protagonist animal you're rooting for is played by several different actors, i.e. that one brown bear's story is patched together from footage of a bunch of different bears. And in about 90% of the animal reacting shots, they're reacting to the camera crew. Nature documentaries are heavily constructed. Cement and concrete are not the same thing. Cement is the main ingredient in concrete, but concrete is the whole mixture of cement, sand, aggregate, water, etc. Paramedic here. Flat line is just a regular person term for asystole. Asystole means that the heart is not beating at all. You don't shock asystole. Shocking someone only happens when someone's heart is quivering erratically or beating so fast that it's not effective. This is called either ventricular fibrillation or ventricular tachycardia. The goal of shocking someone when their heart is in one of these two conditions is to either restart the heart into its regular rhythm or to knock it into asystole. When they are in asystole, the goal is to keep oxygenated blood moving to the body via CPR and to try to get the heart to start beating on its own again. The heart is a muscle, but it has its own internal/intrinsic ability to beat without any input from the brain, automatically. The goal is to get that to happen again. That happens through high-quality CPR and oxygen as well as drugs. TLDR, medical TV shows suck. You don't shock flatline, you actually shock what shows up as squiggly lines, sort of medically speaking. Public service, CPR early, hard and fast is the best thing you can do for someone who is in cardiac arrest. As well as getting an AED to make sure they are not in any of the squiggly lines. Fun fact. Even at the hospital, the best thing they can do for you is give you adequate oxygen and do really good CPR, scientifically proven. Lab-grown diamonds cost $2 per carat of electricity to grow. The value price has absolutely plummeted on them the last 2 years. Most especially the last 8 months. Don't overpay on them as they all perform. 1 carat currently $600 to $800. So for the first time in the history of the jewelry world, you can officially buy moissanites from high-end brands that are more expensive than their lab-grown diamonds of same quality. Grinning squinting face, the amount of people robbed of value the last 2 years is in the millions, and dollar amount unfathomable. Had a guy as recent as March spend $24,000 on a 3-carat lab-grown online when I was finding them for $5,500 at the time. Places are rushing to make money back from buying in bulk. There will be a documentary about this someday. Trains are so long we don't know if we are still blocking the crossing you are waiting at. We have measuring devices, counter, that tell us how far the head end has traveled, but they may have worn out enough to give us a bad reading. We try to avoid blocking crossings way more than you will ever know. But if I'm squeezing between 2 crossings because the dispatcher put me there, and my counter is off by 30 feet every mile, 5,280 feet, and my train is 2 miles long, US max is 16,000 feet, I'm going to accidentally block your crossing. It's also hard to stop. I go past a red signal, I get fired. So if I'm squeezing up to a red signal to get my rear end off your crossing, I'm seriously risking my job for your inconvenience. I do it, but a little patience would be nice. And just because everyone always goes there, yes, I have been made late to work by being blocked by a train. I have even been late to work because I was blocked by my own train. That crew was working until I got there, and had to work an extra 20 minutes because they couldn't leave until I got there, and I couldn't get there until they left. Volumetrically, most rocks are made of mostly oxygen. Most of the entire Earth, crust and mantle, is also nearly half oxygen, by mass. If you've ever read Oxygen Discovered on Moon, it's rocks. It means they've discovered rocks. People, users, are the weakest link in most technology systems. 99% of the time.